Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Welcome to Q Graduates Club weekly meeting, 5th August 2020. I am Sagar Nandi. I used to work in information technology. Now I have retired. I am swing trading stocks using the Q systems and techniques. This is my traders forum, my email ID, YouTube channel, and Twitter page. I regularly share live market and stock analysis on these channels. They are open to the public and you are most welcome to make use of them. Let me check. Are you able to hear me and see my screen? You may use the Zoom chat panel to let me know. I'll continue. Thank you. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Eric. Disclaimer, I am not an investment advisor. This demonstration is for educational purposes only. It is not a trade recommendation. Trading involves risk. You and only you are solely responsible for the outcome of your trades. This is a live session. I have not prepared for it. I will use Q Elite and Q Global for technical analysis during the session, Q Vital for fundamental and peer analysis, Q Edge for sector industry rotation analysis, and sometimes I may use Q Index for market level index analysis. That was the last slide of my presentation. I'll continue with the live system. Let's have a look at the global markets. The Australian market, looking at it using the index AXJO, it was moving sideways and it is continuing to move sideways. No direction. China market using CSI 300 index. This is in an uptrend. Price is supported by memory support line. Weekly is also bullish. Hong Kong market, Hang Seng index. I'm using Q Global on Metastock. One advantage is I can look at global markets using Q Global. Hang Seng index made a higher high at this point. However, after that it pulled back. In the weekly, it is still in an uptrend. In the daily, I am not sure because it made a, one may say it made a lower low. If price comes to the memory support and bounces up from there, that may be a low risk entry point. I will not try to buy it from here if price goes up. India's Nifty index. India was bullish as we saw earlier, and it is continuing to remain bullish. When price hit the memory support here, and the very next day it went up, that was the buy point. One might not buy Nifty 50 itself, instead look at fundamentally strong stocks that were going up one day ago. Now let's look at the UK market FTSE index. It was range bound. It was range bound here. Few days ago it broke below the range. However, it regained, went back inside the range. There is no trend here. So far we saw that China market and India market, these two markets were bullish. And of course, the USA market is bullish. Let's look at them. NASDAQ was the strongest. I'm looking at the USA markets using the indices now. NASDAQ index, very strong, made a new all-time high this week. Yesterday made a new all-time high. It is certainly bullish, no doubt about that. SPX. For the USA market, you may analyze them using the indices like NDX, SPX. You may use the futures like ESNQ, and you may also use the ETFs. I tend to look at all the charts from time to time. SPX is in an uptrend. It has memory support. Earlier in Twitter, I mentioned several times that ES and SPY were also having memory support, and from that I thought it would not come down easily. That is true so far. It is going up. Dow Jones Industrial and Russell 2000 were weaker. Let's have a look at them. DJI, it could break above the weekly memory resistance now. In the daily, there is a memory resistance. It may try to break out of that today. And Russell 2000, this is also bullish. Earlier, Russell 2000 also had a memory resistance. It has broken above that. The weekly is bullish. The daily is also bullish. The market is looking bullish. In the last market roundup, I mentioned that my market outlook was bullish, and because there were memory resistances in several ETFs I mentioned, I would look at where the market goes this week and then decide my preferred trading direction. Those memories have broken, so I took some long trades, and I also booked profit in a large number of long positions I had. Usually I try to have no more than 8 to 10 open positions where I have not booked any profit. I had a few more than I would like to have. That's why I booked profit in some of them. Let's review some of those trades. It's always good to go back. Doesn't matter whether the trade made profit or loss. Good to see how we applied the Q systems. I applied the Q systems, and you may do the same to decide entry, and then how did I manage the trades. Let's look at DLTH. I'm looking at the posts from my traders forum, sagarnandi.com. I shared it 20 days ago, July 16. Let's look at the snapshot I shared at that time. In the weekly, it was in a narrow range, and that range could be considered as a first level base. There was very high volume when price went to that level, and it was moving sideways. When I shared it, that time it made a higher high, pulled back, and right at the edge, it broke out of the memory resistance. Looking at that, I thought I could take a long position and try to book profit at or near the upper boundary. However, DLTH didn't move since then. Let's look at DLTH now, and I'm using TradeStation. I will sometimes use TradeStation QLH, sometimes use Q Global on Metastock. DLTH, 20 days ago, I took a long position, but I saw it was continuing to move sideways. A few days ago, I had a small profit in the trade in one of these days. I decided to exit the trade. This was one trade that I reduced from my open trade count. Came out with a tiny profit. Let's look at YY. This is another trade I exited, again, partly to reduce my open trade count. And also I exited because of the increasing conflict between the USA and the China government. Why? When I analyzed it first, I shared it 5 days ago in the forum. The industry was neither the strongest nor the weakest. It was in the middle. the fundamentals were looking good. Undervalued stock, on the day I analyzed it, it went up by more than 5%. And it was breaking out of the memory resistance line at a support, the yellow direction line. This is a pattern that is traded by many traders. Dr. Jeffrey mentions about it often. A stock in an uptrend that pulls back to support the yellow direction line, and in this case it also broke out of the memory resistance and it gave a bullish flow candle. When a pullback happens that is so deep, it is normal that the weekly color will not change to cyan or may not be even yellow, as was in this case. It was still a valid pullback to support going up in an uptrend kind of trade. That is not a Q trade setup, meaning I didn't try to make a unambiguous checklist for entry of this trade, but I shared it nonetheless. I took a long position in this trade at that time and I exited the trade 1 day ago. So yesterday I might have exited it. I had a small profit in the trade. I exited it again for two reasons. One is to reduce the number of long positions I had, and because of the conflict in USA China. The setup was all right, and you can see yesterday it ended with a very bullish shape candle, and as Mike is pointing out, we can see from here trade station in the pre-market hours it is up by 1.4%. There was nothing wrong with the pullback in an uptrend kind of setup. I exited because I had more number of fully open trades than I wanted to have. Now let's look at another trade that I exited yesterday. That was a very well planned trade, I think very nicely taken. I shared CNX on August 3rd, 2 days ago. I always carry out the industry fundamental and technical analysis before choosing a stock and sharing it, or choosing a stock and trading it. Oil and gas exploration was very strong on that day. Which day? That was 3rd August around 1:50 p.m. Very strong industry, strong acceleration. This stock was steadily going up 10-day, 5-day, 2-day, 1-day. All these percentage changes were positive, and right on that day also it was up by 7%. Undervalued stock with a short squeeze potential. Earnings was already over. 74% stocks in the industry group, oil and gas exploration and production. How many stocks I found using QVital? 55. So 74% of 55 stocks were up. The industry was very strong relative to others, as we saw from QH score, and in itself also it was very strong. So I wanted to take a long position. When I shared it, the stock was giving a very nice breakout setup. Broke out of memory resistance in daily as well as weekly. Earnings was already over. Earnings was over sometime here. So I was more comfortable taking the long trade. It had bullish pressure also. However, by the end of the day, I followed up with the post later. By the end of the day, it had an upper tail. Using Q guideline, we would not like to take the trade at market close when that happens. If you could enter it using fine-tuned real-time chart, you could have taken an entry price that is lower, then you could continue to hold it overnight. But when the candle ends with an upper tail, I suggest not taking the long trade at market close. Usually it comes down the next day, and using fine-tuned chart, you are usually able to get a better entry price. And that is what I did. Next day, I think I executed it very, very well. I just followed the Q charts. Next day, price came down. Here I am showing the 10-minute chart, though the actual trade entry was made using 5-minute chart in the morning session. After pulling back, it stopped at the pivot level, the intraday pivot level automatically drawn. Then it created a neutral bullish shape candle with bull release signal. So that was where I took the trade, somewhere at this price point. For the day, I put my stop here, and when price went up, covered my risk distance, I booked half profit. I tend to use the diary to size my positions, and when I am precisely entering a trade like I did in this case, I sometimes enter double the usual size. So usually if my sizing was telling me to take 100 shares, I might have taken 200 shares with the thought that half of that I would exit as a day trade as soon as the risk distance is covered. That is what I did. And the remaining half, I would try to hold overnight. I will let it go up if it went up. So I booked half profit and I held on to the remaining position. However, at the end of the day, yesterday, again it closed with an upper tail. Let's look at CNX. It is still bullish, you may say, because the traffic light candle color is cyan. Sorry, traffic light candle color is green. Cyan was on this day. That was the earnings time. It is bullish, but because again it ended with an upper tail, I decided to book profit on the remaining position also. So I closed my trade in this case. If the candle ended with a bullish shape candle without an upper tail, then I would happily continue to hold the usual size. I also kept an eye on oil, US oil. Let's look at US oil. Oil closed higher yesterday by 1.5%. Okay, if it is taking time to open here, let me go to Metastock, Q Global, USO. I mentioned in my earlier videos that in the daily chart, oil was moving in such a narrow range that I was not going to take any trade in oil. Yesterday, it went higher, it closed higher, 0.44 cents higher. Still, it is inside a range. Therefore, I was not going to take any trade in oil itself, but the energy sector was very strong. That's why I tried to take the trade in CNX. When I exited it, that time, if, okay, let me use. Yesterday, oil was up very strongly. Then it started coming down, went up again and closed higher. However, let's look at CNX. Keep this pattern in mind and let's look at CNX. CNX went up, pulled back further down, tried to go up, created lower high, came down. Because it created this upper tail, because of this move, I exited the trade. Another reason again I exited is because I didn't want to keep too many open trades where I have not booked partial profit. So those trades, that is YY, CNX, DLTH, I exited without them hitting my initial target or without them hitting my stop. Now let's look at some of the stocks where I booked excellent profit. PBI, I shared first. Let me scroll up. Shared first 6 days ago. And as you know, I always share before knowing the result. I have confidence on the Q systems. They tend to work all right, at least for me. PBI's industry was very strong that day. It was strengthening also. Excellent valuation. When everything in this band is cyan color, we know valuation is excellent. Also a short squeeze potential, great earnings quality. It was up by more than 13%. And when this entire band here is green, you know that it is consistently going up. Not only going up on that day, but going up for a while. And also a very nice dividend yield, 6.7%. So I was happy to take a trade in PBI. I was aware of the earnings day. Recently, I have taken a large number of very successful breakout trades. This was one. It was a breakout from the daily memory resistance as well as weekly memory resistance. Very nice setup. I wouldn't know how it would turn out. Let's look at PBI now. Let's see now TradeStation can open it faster or not. PBI. Okay, in the daily chart, I'm going to use the hotkeys to change the template to show the exact breakout. This was the breakout. On this day, the breakout happened. I was aware of the earnings. I took a long position and it went up. I think on this day, it went up by 40-50%. It stopped right at the weekly watermark resistance. I had a very large profit and I exited the trade. This was a very profitable breakout trade. Let's look at another trade, SGMS. That was also a breakout trade. I titled it a beautiful breakout. Let's look at it. I shared it 12 days ago. I found it from Q Edge Insight. It came as one of the best performing undervalued stocks. If you are following my post, you know that this is one of my favorite categories. This category, undervalued stocks that are best performing for the day, allows me to catch the stocks at a relatively low price. By the way, undervalued doesn't mean that it has to be at a low price, because this calculation is not based on chart pattern, it's based on actual fundamentals. Sometimes, or most of the times, they happen to be at a lower price, but not always. So SGMS came right at the top on that day. It was up by 13%. Q Insight offers probably the easiest way to look for strong stocks. And because it works in real time, you may run Q Insight, the categories that you prefer, right around, let's say, 9:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and see which stocks are best performing under various categories. Often those will end the day also as the best performing stocks. So we are able to catch them right at the time they are breaking out of RD range high in the fine tune chart. So I looked at SGMS at that time. The industry, again, Q Edge allows me often to get into a stock right on the very day using real-time chart, real-time analysis, right on the day the industry is turning around. And it was the very best accelerating stock, because in USA market, we have 147 industries. The base score, acceleration score was 147. So it was strong industry on that day and the most accelerating industry. I found SGMS. We knew it would be undervalued because it came from inside category. It was up by a significant percentage, had a short squeeze potential. Let's look at the chart. Again, it gave a very nice weekly breakout as well as a daily breakout with a bullish flow, with a bullish pressure, high activity. I took a position at that time. Let's look at SGMS as of yesterday. I took a trade, I think, when this breakout happened, and then it continued to go up. Yesterday, I booked profit in the trade. It is hovering near the yellow or white direction line. Let me change the template using hotkeys. It is just above the white direction line. I had a good profit in the trade. And again, I wanted to reduce the number of fully open positions. So I booked profit in this trade as well. Another breakout trade. Let's look at another one. No, we can choose STOR. I'll come back. I shared it yesterday. DEA. See another breakout trade. By the way, these breakouts are not breakouts that are with big stop loss. They are with narrow stop loss. Otherwise, I don't like to take them. DEA, I shared it 14 days ago. By the way, at that time, around that time, I shared HIW. I think HIW was also a breakout trade. We may look at that. Let's look at DEA first. Here it was not undervalued. The valuation was medium, but it had positive and accelerating earnings growth. The stock went up on that day, had a nice dividend, 4.5%. And right on that day, 100% of the 58 peer stocks were up. So it was very strong. The industry was very strong. It gave a very nice breakout setup again. Breaking out from daily memory resistance. It also created a reversal candle that is shown by the reversal dot. The weekly was bullish. So I took a long trade, DEA. Let's look at DEA now. Let me change the daily chart to see where I took the trade. I think I took the trade when this breakout happened. We may confirm that. 22nd July. 22nd July. My original post was also on 22nd July. So I could take the trade on this day, and by yesterday, it had covered more than the risk distance. Here I booked partial profit. The stock is looking so strong. I didn't exit full position. I am holding partial position with trailing stop. Trailing stop, I decide using the Q protection signal. So I might have put somewhere here now. Today, if it goes up, I may be able to lift the stop higher. It is looking very bullish. When we looked at DEA, why don't we also look at HIW that I shared around the same time? This one. 14 days ago, I shared it. Same day, 22nd July. Very nice valuation and earnings growth also. Excellent valuation plus positive and very accelerating earnings growth with a good dividend. This is my favorite kind of stock in terms of fundamentals. Let's look at the chart. Here. This was also breaking out of the memory resistance, had memory support. The weekly shape and color both were bullish. It had a reversal candle as well. That was on 22nd July HIW. I have already booked partial profit in this trade. I'm holding partial position. Let's look at it. HIW as of yesterday. Let me change the template. I took the trade on this day and I booked partial profit. I'm holding on to partial position. It came back to the memory support, stopped right there. Yesterday gave again a possible entry opportunity, go with flow entry opportunity yesterday. I'm already in the trade, booked partial profit here, holding on to partial position with trailing stop. I could take a series of very successful breakout trades, breakouts not at 52-week high, but breakout that were often supported by memory support. And yesterday I found one such trade. Let me explain exactly how I found it. I was looking at QH. All of you who are having QH probably keep it running during market hours. One thing I wanted to mention, during market hours, sometimes I want to see only the 1-day bar. I want to see only the 1-day bar, not the 2-day, 5-day, because of course the 2-day and 5-day magnitude should be higher, bigger, and they sometimes cloud the day's performance. So what I do, you may click anywhere on the chart, go to filter, deselect 2-day and 5-day and apply. So sometimes during market hours, I keep it like this, and as the market changes, not only the real time, this is now showing 1-day during market hours, it will show real time, not only the pie charts change, but this also changes and you may make real-time trading decisions. If you watched it yesterday, you would know that consumer staples was, I think, negative in the beginning, but it closed with strong positive percentage move. I think, if I am not mistaken, in the beginning it was down. So you could probably drill down into consumer staples and see what was going on. How I found store now. I looked at this and I saw real estate was very strong. Energy was also very strong. In the latest version of QH, you will notice two sector drill down buttons. The cyan is the sector score drill down and sector percentage drill down. I usually like to go to the sector score tab first, because using the color, I can easily decide not only which are strong now, but which are also reversing from weakness. And I saw energy and real estate were very strong, were accelerating also. You could find that from pace columns, 5-day, 1-day. They were strong and reversing. In the latest version, you are able to select multiple sectors also and then drill down. That is what I did. That gave me all the industries in both energy and real estate. I sorted by that time real time, now 1-day performance, and looked at the ones that were strong. The bold casing means the top 20%, cyan color. So I selected all these industries. They might be in energy and real estate both. Then I drill down to the stocks. Now I have the stocks fundamental scorecard of the strongest industries in the two strongest sectors of the day. First, I try to look for the star candidates, 3-star candidates with both great valuation and earnings growth. And you see store was there, STOR. In the latest version, you don't need to choose the technical trading system anymore. Earlier, the home tab for QH Vital Index used to have the selection for technical trading system so that when you click the chart icon on the stock tab, it would know whether you wanted to transfer the data to Q Elite on TradeStation or Q Global on MetaStock. But more and more people are using both TradeStation and MetaStock. That's why I separated the two buttons. What I did yesterday is this: I selected them, clicked on the grid, went to TradeStation Sonar, press Control V. That would calculate the Q signals for the day. And you can see there were 3 breakout signals in AM, OPI, and STOR, and 1 bullish flow in UE. However, UE had a bearish memory touch, meaning it was touching a memory resistance, so I might not be interested in buying that. This is from where I found store. Let's look at its chart. Again, it was the same familiar pattern, breaking out of triangle pattern with bullish flow. Stop would be narrow. The weekly is bullish. I took a long position in STOR near the market close. However, the earnings is very near. Let's look at Q8. The earnings is 5th August, I think after market close. So I used synthetic position. I took out of the money call. I bought out of the money call and shorted in the money put, expiring in September. This is August, expiring in September. So I gave myself enough time. I will see how it goes. I can see it is up in pre-market 1.3%. If I have a good profit, I may book profit. I may not risk it through the earnings. Best would be if I could book profit in the put options so much that at least some of the calls I am able to hold free of cost. I will see if that happens. If that happens, I will try to book profit. Otherwise, I am happy to hold on to it across the earnings. The volatility crash after earnings will help my put position. The calls were very cheap. They were out of the money. So I'm not worried about that. That is how I used Q Edge to very quickly drill down from the home page to the strongest sectors, to the strongest industries in those sectors, to the best fundamental stocks, and find the trading opportunity. It took me only a couple of minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, to look through all these levels, and I took a long position. You can see here AM, also a stock that has great valuation and great earnings growth, also has a very high dividend. If they can sustain the dividend, it is great. 20% dividend is very high. Not sure if they can sustain it or not, but earnings is over. The next earnings is on 27th October. That's a good sign. Let's look at AM. And I noticed Wadi from Germany, who is in the forum, he shared it. Let's look at his post. Probably he followed the same steps that I showed, probably, but it could be found in other ways also. He shared this long on AM. Okay, yes, he found it using the same real-time top-down analysis. Very good job. That is an easy way. I think probably the easiest top-down analysis using visual cues and real-time data. Very good job, Adi. Energy sector, strong. Oil and gas storage transportation, strong in terms of relative score and also in terms of percentage move. The stock was steadily going up. And I can see from the snapshots Wadi identified it after market close. At least he shared the snapshots after market close. Real time values are blank. Undervalued stock with short squeeze potential. 87% of 85 peer stocks in oil and gas storage and transportation went up yesterday. Has positive and accelerating earnings growth as well. So AM is looking good in terms of fundamentals and industry strength. Let's look at AM using this chart. I will magnify it a little bit, increase the spacing. This is also a breakout trend. Breaking out from memory resistance after earnings. That is a good sign. And you can see heavy volume in recent days. High bullish pressure yesterday. Weekly is also very bullish. Only concern I had when I looked at AM yesterday was where to put the stop. I couldn't find an easy way to decide my stop. If yesterday's candle was a gap up candle, then I could think of putting the stop just below the candle, but it was not a gap up open. So I was not sure where to put the stop. You have noticed I don't have a checklist for breakout trades. Why? Because of this reason. Many of the breakouts don't allow us to have low risk entry, or it becomes a bit complicated to decide where to put the stop. The logical stop here would be near the recent low. That would be far away for my taste. That is why I didn't prefer to buy AM, but it is looking very bullish. If I am bullish on a stock but don't find a good stop level using daily chart, then I may look at it today using fine-tuned chart, see how it moves. And just like in case of CNX, I could take an extremely narrow stop entry. That would be my preferred approach in case of AM if I wanted to buy it. It is bullish, but I didn't take a trade in this. I preferred store, and let's look at store again. It's also a breakout, but you see the stop is narrow. I am able to put the stop not far from my entry price. Both are bullish though. Market is looking bullish. Let's look at Finder, see what that says. I ran Finder, that is the two combo scans that we have in Q Global. Q Finder bearish, Q Finder bullish. I ran it on this symbol list having 1200, about 1200 stocks, mid-price stocks between 10 to $110, liquid stocks with at least 5 years history. So long as you run these two scans, combo scans on a large list, at least 1000 stocks, maybe 500 stocks we'll also do for other countries. For USA, we can easily find 1000 liquid stocks. So long as you run them on a large list of stocks and visualize the data, that provides an unique way of looking at the market, looking at all the Q signals, bearish and bullish, and looking at them visually. Metastock allows us to run weekly scan before the week is over. TradeStation doesn't allow that. So I ran the scans both on weekly interval and daily interval. You can see the weekly is very bullish. As of Tuesday's close, today is Wednesday. If we look at all the signals, about 80% are bullish. Strength signals, 93% bullish. Trend continuation, 77%. Trend reversal, 73% bullish. Across all the categories, it is bullish. Even the reversals, that is very bullish indeed. There is no scope of ambiguity in that. That is the weekly data, and let's look at yesterday's data. This is also bullish. If we look at all signals, 67% bullish, strength 57%, trend continuation higher 71%, and reversal. Again, reversal is also more bullish than bearish. Certainly, trade continuation is also more bullish than bearish. In this market, it is difficult to look for short trades. My market view is bullish. That is important. In a bullish market, if we take bearish trades, that is not an efficient way of making money. Still, if you wanted to look for a weak stock, how to look for that? Let's look at, for the sake of using the Q system's full power, let's look at the worst performing industries yesterday. I refreshed the data, sorted the industries by worst performance, and home building came to my notice. It was stronger earlier and now it is weakening. Let's look at home building. If we wanted to short, maybe we could think of shorting some home building stock. Again, I want to be clear, in a bullish market, I don't want to or don't suggest shorting. This is just demonstrating how to look for trading opportunities in any direction, long or short, using the Q system. These are the home building stocks in Q Edge. Let me click 3-star red color. Only one stock came up. TMHC. Yesterday it went down. So this may be a good candidate. And I just use few clicks to identify it. Valuation is overvalued, earnings growth is negative and decelerating. Earnings is over. That's good. Yesterday it went down when the market is pretty bullish. 18% below 52-week high, 262% above 52-week low. That may be a sweet spot to short it. Let's look at it using Q Global. Okay, I should not put my cursor on Explorer, put my cursor on chart application. Go back to Q Edge. Let's open the chart. This has a memory support. So I'm not going to short it now. Let's go back to Q Edge. Do a complete peer analysis using Q Vita. So I can put my cursor anywhere on the row TMHC, click the peer analysis button. That will take me to Q Vita. Let's see if I can find other weak fundamental stocks, either star candidate or trade candidate. At least it should be overvalued or having negative earnings growth, if not both. That gave me a larger list of stocks. In Q Edge, we have S&P 1500 stocks. In Q Vital, it sends request to Refinitiv for all the peer stocks. In this case, I'm using same or similar industry peers. I got more stocks. Let's go to the peer stocks scores. Before that, you may notice, not that button. Yesterday, though the market was strong, 77% of the 22 peer stocks in home building were down. So this industry is certainly down. In Q Edge, we saw relatively it was weak. Let's go back to Q Edge. Industry. Industry score is telling relatively it is weak and very much decelerating. If we looked at industry percentage, we would know that in absolute terms also the industry was down yesterday. And that is also reflected in Q Vital. 77% of the peer stocks were down. Let's look at the peer stocks. Let me try 3-star red candidates again. Only one, the TMHC. Now I don't need to click the reset. I may click the red button to relax my criteria so that I am now looking at either overvalued stocks or the stocks with negative earnings growth. Let's see which ones went down yesterday. I'm picking the ones that went down by 1.7% or more, opening them using Q Global. You could open them using Q Edge also, Q Elite also easily. Sky, let's look at this stock, Sky. This is giving a bearish headwind reversal signal, possible reversal signal, but has a memory trend line support. I'm not going to short it when it is near support. TMHC, we already looked at it, has memory support, not shortable. This one has bullish color. Traffic light candle color is green. CVCO, not going to short it. LGIH. I'll come back to this. Okay, this is the only stock. Let's look at LGIH using weekly daily at a glance template. This one, if at all I was thinking of shorting any of the home building stocks that we saw, either using QEdge or QVital stock list, this is the most likely candidate. However, I would not short yesterday at market close. I might keep it in watch list. Today, I may keep an eye on it. If it continues to go down, I may short it. Again, with a caveat that in a bullish market, I am not fond of shorting. This is a demonstration of how to find weak stocks even in a bullish market. This is looking more appropriate for shorting because the memory support is far away. The weekly has 3 successive weeks candles with long upper tail. And if we want to look at a longer term view of the stock, now I'm looking at the same stock. By the way, you may create these templates in Q Global as well as Q Elite if you wanted to. Now I'm looking at the stock using daily, weekly, the standard durations for at a glance, daily, weekly, and also 2 week and not 1 month, but 4 week. There is no specific reason. You may choose 1 month or you may choose 4 week or anything of your preference. And across all these intervals, it looks like the stock is not able to go up. Will it come down? Probably more likely than it going up. Am I happy to short it now? No, because the market is very bullish. But if I had to short a stock, this may be a candidate to keep in mind. If the market turns down suddenly, starts to fall over, then I may short LGIH with higher confidence. So I have a I have a stock in my watch list that I am ready to short if the market comes down. But market has not come down, isn't it? Let's look at the futures as of now. And this is delayed data, but still we may have an idea. This is E-mini S&P 500. It is up in overnight market, up by 17 points, not very small for S&P 500. So it is continuing to go up. If it started to go down, then I could think of shorting a stock that I am ready with, LGI. That is how you may use Q systems in any market condition. Would you like me to look at any stock that you are looking at or would like to share your market view? I think those are the things that I plan to share in today's session. I'm happy that this Zoom meeting is working out. You are all able to get the password. Remember to always use the same link. Let me go back again. Go to the homepage of sagarnandi.com. The Zoom meeting will always be using this link. The link itself may change, but you will always be able to join the meeting by clicking this button, and the password is available under the download page. Password may also change, and I made these changes because last time some people hacked into the meeting and that was not nice. that is all that I plan to share in today's session. Thanks a lot for attending. I look forward to seeing you in our next session. We'll try to have the Graduates Club meeting every week, Wednesday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope to see you next week again. Have a great week. Have a good day. Trade profitably. Thank you.